Hi, today I'm in Hungary. This is the Hungaroring, and these are the new BMW M2s. There are a lot of them, some of them are already on the track, and soon enough I'll be on the road and on the track in the new BMW M2.
Back in 2004, BMW launched a 5-door compact hatchback known as the 1 Series E87. Joining it were a 3-door hatch and a coupe. Hot hatch versions were called M135i, and the hot coupe was given even more power and was called 1M Coupe. Why not M1? Because M1 is a supercar from the late 1970s. So how did we get to the M2? New models escaped the traditional series numbering scheme, so BMW added even numbers for coupes, cabriolets, minivans and other stuff that's not typical sedan or hatchback. So now BMW can make de facto M1 but calls it M2. The M2 is powered by a 3-liter straight 6-cylinder engine with a twin-scroll turbocharger, which is more responsive and lighter than a twin-turbo used in M3 and M4. This is a different engine from the M3, M4, but it has some bits from it. Other elements carried over from the bigger M brother include brakes, 380mm discs in the front, 370mm in the back. However, the M2 doesn't have a carbon ceramic disc option. The suspension has also been carried over from the M4. Tires are 19-inch Michelin Pilot Super Sports, 245/35 in the front, 265/35 in the back. Obviously, M2 has more power than M235i, 370 horsepower versus 326, and it's got more torque, 465 Nm up to 500 with overboost versus 450. M2 also has a different front for better aerodynamics, and aluminium bits are used all around. Despite that, at over 1500 kilograms, M2 is not lighter than M235i. You can choose between a 6-speed manual or a 7-speed DCT. The latter gives you 4.3 seconds from 0 to 100 km/h, which is the M4 time. As standard, the interior is trimmed in leather, Alcantara and carbon fiber. For about 56,000 euro you get a pretty sweet package, but you'll have to shell out another 4,000 for the DCT, which will definitely make you faster around the track and it will be easier to live with. But are you buying an M car for convenience or the fun of driving it on twisty back roads? Of course you want the manual! A couple of years ago I drove the 1M Coupe and it left me terrified. The roads were greasy on that day, I give you that, and the car proved to be very demanding. When I got back from a short mountain test drive, I was looking for a place to wash my trousers. Compared to the 1M, M2 is easy peasy.
Okay, we're in the BMW M2 on the motorway. Yeah, not very exciting, not what I expected, but I hope there will be some country roads as well. So what can I tell you about how this car drives on open road? Yeah, it's fairly comfortable. Even in comfort mode, the steering remains relatively responsive and there is no dead zone in the middle. However, as this is electrically assisted progressive something steering, the steering actually wakes up when you start driving really like a hooligan. This is when the steering becomes a bit heavier and when you become a bit more involved. On the motorway like this, it's a comfortable cruiser. We have driven on just a slight bit of rougher roads, and on these rougher roads the M2 copes rather nicely. It's not too harsh. I expected it to be much stiffer, but it's not. BMW is enjoying growth of sales in the M segments. The M2 is supposed to be aimed at the slightly younger crowd who can hopefully still drive this car properly around track. Whether this younger crowd will actually do any lap time in this car is open to debate. I suspect this younger crowd will probably spend more time in the pub boasting about this car doing a sub 8-minute time around the Nürburgring. And around the track, well, I will take it around the track right now, and before I go there, let me just say that I'm not a track driver, and what you will hear soon about the brakes and stuff may be just my poor almost racing driver excuses, because I'm not a racing driver, but I'm already practicing the excuses. So onto the track, onto the Hungaroring, which is coming right up. And we're on the track in the BMW M2. Long straight of the Hungaroring, braking, heavy braking, and I can't feel these brakes. The pedal goes in deep and I just don't feel the brakes are doing their job properly. I've been on a quick ride with a DTM driver who claims brakes are fine, so basically I'm just a crap driver. But never mind. Another braking point and a long corner, just a wee bit of slip in Sport Plus mode, and another straight. The 7-speed DCT is nicely mechanical. You can feel the shifts. Oh yes! So this car will make you feel like a hero just for a moment before you actually go off the track. The steering is a bit heavier than on the road, but it's still rather artificial. I don't really feel I have any connections with the front wheels. Everything else is fine. I mean, this car is great to drive. It's just a little bit oversteery, which is really, really great. This car has 370 horsepower, around 450, 460 Newton meters of torque, 500 with overboost. And boy, does this thing go like stink. Now the big question is, should you spend about 10,000 euro more compared to a M2 35i? Should you buy this car for 57 grand plus options, let's make it 60, and not choose a Porsche Boxster or a Audi RS3?
Audi RS3 is a 5-door semi-hatchback, semi-estate, and that makes it very practical in everyday life. It also has the same 0 to 100 km/h time. It's slightly down on power, but it's got the same amount of torque as the BMW. At 53 grand for the base model, it's slightly cheaper, and Quattro all-wheel drive system makes it usable in the winter. On the other end of the scale, you have Porsche 718, Boxster and Cayman, which do not understand the word comfortable, but are great fun to drive on the road and on the track. And let's not forget about Mercedes A45 AMG, which is also a practical choice and sounds great too.
This car will look great on the streets. It sounds great, it's great fun to drive. The question is whether you need the M parts. I don't drive on the track very often, so I suspect spending all this extra money doesn't really make sense, unless of course you want to tell your friends that your car can do sub 8-minute times around the Nürburgring. Of course, then this guy in a Honda Civic Type R comes along and tells you his car is even faster and costs half the price.
You can also make your M2 stand out from the crowd by giving it a bunch of M Performance parts like spoilers, adjustable coilovers, diffusers, sport exhaust and some other carbon bits. Of course, there are also M Performance stickers which make you look like a proper track hero, not some poser who just got himself an M2 to commute. And track heroes will probably need sport brake pads like the ones fitted on test cars during the track day presentation. So the pedal feel is just something you have to get used to because there is no ceramic brake disc option.
So that's the BMW M2. My take on the BMW M2. I've got to cool down a bit, take a drink of water, and I'm going back home tonight. And I'll see you next time on Marek Drives. Please share, rate, subscribe if you like what I'm doing. Help me on Patreon and PayPal. You'll find the links in the description below. And I'll see you next time.